designed for parties. Heisman trophies, stiff on groupies and lobbies. Back up off the keys. Ever since a juvenile, I've been 500 degrees. Humble myself, got on bended knees. Action 90, marry me. Fortunately, she agreed. Been smooth sailing since year 3.
What's up? What's up? What's up? This is your people, 904DZ, Dizali the Watcher. What's up? What's up? What's up, man? I have something that I want to bring to us this day. The title of this one is Prison Brutality and Murder. Prison Brutality and Murder, because you know what? It's time to go ahead and address this issue that is known of but not discussed very often. It's usually swept under the rug. You hear about it, but you do not want to hear about it. Um, we really don't know what to do with our incarcerated over here in this country. Um, we all know about the crime that goes on in this country, but we have not come to a conclusion with what we want to do with those criminals and how we want those who have been convicted to live while they are incarcerated. We've been talking out of both sides of our mouth, and most people really just don't want to deal with it. I don't think, but I'm going to try to bring it more to life, more to light. I have this movement I have going on called Get Loud, where my intent is for us to get loud on issues that are too difficult for one person to undertake themselves. It's too difficult to have to fight a corporation. It's too difficult to have to fight a department by yourself. And the more eyes and ears that you get on it, the more pressure you can apply to that entity. So that is the movement, the organization that I have started. It's called Get Loud. You can find me on Facebook. Just type in Get Loud. Go ahead and join the group that I have set up, and we'll take it from there. But the issue is we have a lot of things go on in this country that we know are not right. They're unjust, and we just don't know what to do with it. We don't know who to talk to. We don't have any help. We're often by ourselves, and it's just such a monumental task. But I'm going to see if there's something that we can do together as a community. Um, like I said, the one I am focusing on right now is some of the prison brutality and murder, not at the hand of other inmates. I'm talking about brutality and murder at the hands of prison officials, the correctional officers. Trying to think if I should. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Present. We're going to share screen. Where are we at? Let's go to the Otis Miller. Okay. All right, I'm going to play this real quick. Fair warning. Fair warning. And they may still strike me, but I want y'all to take a look at this case.
Who beat him in a disturbing scene captured on video.
Last October, local prosecutors dropped the charges and decided not to bring 4 former corrections officers to trial in the beating of inmate Otis Miller at the state prison in Lake County. Tonight, West 2 News investigative reporter Greg Fox takes us behind bars to reveal the story that rocked the prison system and its continued fallout today.
This is why we're fear of our life. This is why we're fear of our life.
This cell phone video shows corrections officers beating and kicking an inmate at the state prison in Lake County.
Stop right there. That reminds me of something else that I wanted to bring to the people's attention. The reason for it being against the law to have cell phones in jails and prisons, and they will tell us that it's for security reasons. Yeah, I bet it is for security reasons. It's for the security of not showing what the hell goes on in a prison. What the hell goes on behind those gates, behind those doors. I'm convinced of that. They do not want the public seeing how we have these inmates living. They do not want the public hearing how we talk to those inmates. Um, those are things that they do not want seen or heard. And notice that I say we. I probably should not say we. I am no longer a correctional officer, but I had been a correctional officer for about 5 years. So I am well aware of what goes on behind it. See, that's what's going to make this presentation and what I'm doing different. I'm someone who's actually worked it. So they can't lie to me. I know the culture. I know what went on there. I know why it went on. I know where it went on. But let me go on with this video. I'll get back to you.
They just kept on beating and beating and beating and beating and beating. And you see somebody keep punching me, like punching.
Otis Miller was that inmate in July 2019.
They say he's resisting, but he's not resisting at all. They're gonna kill him.
Did you think you were going to survive that?
No, sir. I thought I was gonna die that day. Honestly, I thought I was gonna die.
As y'all can see, they're beating him up.
Miller says he initially ran from officers when they caught him with cigarettes, but he says the beating intensified.
This video is being captured by a inmate who had a illegal cell phone, which is counted as contraband. But that inmate had a cell phone and was able to record this beating. I remember this incident. I believe I was working at UCI at this time, and we all heard about it. We all heard about this. And I specifically remember white shirts or officers saying things such as, "This is why we can't allow cell phones to slip past our gates and get in the hands of inmates, because then it's going to capture us doing dumb sh." This is why they are adamant about no cell phones being on the compound.
From more than half a dozen officers after he was pepper sprayed, put in a chokehold, and restrained. Afterward, Miller was put in a wheelchair and eventually sent to a hospital for 3 days of treatment for broken ribs, cuts, and bruises, though no one admitted to using excessive force to restrain Miller.
I know the look of that right here. I know that look very well. That's the look of a person that has just had the SHIT beat out of them. He just caught a brutal. I can tell by cause I've seen it, I don't know, maybe 100 times. I know that look, that posture. He's been sprayed, and now they're about to put him in what looks like the shower for him to wash those chemicals off of him.
Force to restrain Miller.
The inmate has 3 lumps in his face. Somebody punched him 3 times in the face at a minimum.
Sir, I didn't see anybody punch him in the face.
I know, as written in my report, I administered distractionary strikes trying to get the inmate's arms from underneath his body.
Captain Milton Gass and officers Joshua Petersilge, Hunter Lingo, and Ian Gretka were all fired.
So these were the officers who were caught in that situation. And this guy was, did he say a lieutenant or a captain? either route, he was a officer and he would have been in charge of the situation. I want people to understand, while we do want to admonish them for what they've done, it's bigger than that. It is not that I'm specifically going after the individual officers, because as I just said, it's much bigger than that. This is a structural issue. This is a systemic issue. These guys are just pawns in it. These guys are just pawns in it. Um, they let me see. I'm looking at their faces. No, I didn't know any of them, I don't think. Um, let's say the guy who's been working there the longest out of this group, maybe 10 years. I see one guy may have been 2, 3 years. I say 3 of the 4 were working there 7 years or less. 7 years or less, and that may be a stretch. This is a structural issue, and they may not have been on that type of time when they arrived at the compound, but you get to the compound and you see what the temperature is. You see how things work around there. You'll have veteran guys who demonstrate and verbalize to you how things work in a prison. See, when you first get there, you're just watching and listening. You're watching and listening, and all the old officers running around telling their war stories and the ass they done kicked and the guys they done effed up. I remember that, listening, like, dang, this is what goes on in a prison. This is how it is. I remember listening to that, and that influences you. So while I have no problem with these gentlemen being punished in a appropriate manner, we're not going to let the system off the hook. Like as I said, this is a systemic problem. Just like the word down here, prison system. That's exactly what goes on. That's the exact culprit, the prison system.
And charged with felonies in connection with the beating. But the 4 former corrections officers are not going to be tried. Prosecutors say it would not be possible to explain to a jury exactly which man inflicted what harm on Otis Miller. The state attorney concluded the case could not be proven, given the lack of evidence and conflicts in the admissible evidence.
There were a lot of problems with this case.
On that point, WESH 2 legal expert Richard Hornsby agrees with the prosecutor, but he believes the state had an obligation to bring the case to trial and let a jury decide.
It's indisputable that he was brutally beaten by somebody. And the question is, if you're not going to try these cases, it sends a message to the correctional unit that they can continue to cover things up.
It's just unjust. It happens all the time. They got away with what they did.
Miller believes the decision not to prosecute the criminal case makes no sense, given that he sued the Florida Department of Corrections and, according to federal court records, the two sides settled the case. Miller says they paid him $125,000. He's hoping to use this beating case and the civil court settlement to try and win early release on a cocaine trafficking conviction. And why talk about any of this to us? Because he says he has family and friends, like most of his fellow inmates, that care about their safety behind bars.
I just want to speak up for the people that went through the same thing that I went through.
Why is that important?
Because family members need to know to check on their family members. That's a lot, and that's in.
Yeah, that's about what I wanted to show on that one. Yeah. Let me tell you. That's what goes on in prisons. ladies and gentlemen. And the date of this incident, I think, was back in like 2019, but that's just one I found right off the top of my head. I mean, I just pulled one up. I can assure you that this goes on every day. This goes on every day at every prison. Some person, some inmate is beaten, and it more than likely will not make it to the public's attention. Um, you know, after you get into a situation with an officer and more officers come and they brutalize you, what happens is they will have the medical staff check you out to make sure that you're not about to die on them. And then you will be placed in confinement. Now, while you're in confinement, as a result, you probably will not be able to get a phone call. You know, inmates generally are given a phone call depending upon what level they are, once or twice per week. You probably, after something like this happens to you, will not be able to get a phone call out for at least 2 weeks, possibly moving into a month's time. So imagine having this happen to you, and then you're not able to talk to your people for um, a month. You know, you're back there, you're healing up. You want to, um, 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 you know, display your displeasure with your loved ones. You want to see what can be done, but you do not even get the opportunity because you are now moved to confinement. So you don't even get to voice what has just happened to you. I've seen gentlemen with their heads bust wide open. I've seen gentlemen get their eye knocked out of its sockets, teeth knocked off, fingers broken or cut off, toes chopped off, ribs broken. Anytime a cell extraction happens to an inmate, uh, I've never seen a inmate come out of that situation unscathed, relatively healthy. Even the most simple cell extraction, the inmate is going to come out bruised and bloody, eyes black, lips bust, face swollen, body sore. Because what happens is you have 5 to 6 of the biggest officers they can find. You're gonna have 5 to 6 of them run in on you, um, fully decked out in their stab vests, Kevlar helmets, elbow, knee pads, gloves. They're gonna bum rush in there. They're gonna knock you against the damn wall with a 50-pound shield, all the while yelling, "Stop resisting, stop resisting, stop resisting." And each officer is going to grab a part of your body. Now, one's supposed to grab an arm, and one's supposed to grab a leg, and one's supposed to control the body. But in the middle of melee, things happen. You're gonna have officers who grab you by your head. You're gonna have officers who grab you by your jawline. You're gonna have officers who grab you by your crotch, by your genitals, intentionally to cause harm. You know, sometimes it's not intentional. I will give them that, but there are times when it is intentional because they oftentimes want to hear you scream. They want to get that anger and frustration out. So the aim is to harm you and brutalize you should they have to come and extract you from a cell or extract you from a situation. And while all of this is going on, the officer at the door with the camera is going to intentionally aim it high so he or she does not capture the arms working like a piston as they go back and forth, punching you wherever in your face, in your body. They're going to do their best. They're instructed to do their best to make sure they do not capture that. So while you're not supposed to be punching and kneeing and kicking guys doing the cell extraction, you can bet your money that is going on. It most definitely is going on. That's why no one comes out feeling good. No one comes out of a cell extraction. I mean, no inmate comes out of a cell extraction situation feeling good or looking good. Oftentimes, I would see such guys after this has happened, and I'm like, damn, what happened to you, man? And they be like, Officer Wright, let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you what happened, Officer Wright. You know, lip fat, eyes fat and black. But this is what happens. Once again, though, I want us to understand that this is a systemic issue. A issue that has been allowed to grow and fester until it's just a stinking infection now. A stinking infection that needs to be cleaned out. That's why I want the entire Department of Corrections from East Coast to West Coast, North to South, torn down, destroyed, and then rebuilt. We need to have the conversation of what purpose do we want our prisons and penitentiaries to serve? How do we want our inmates to live? Do we want them in prison being brutalized not only by other inmates, but by officers? Is that what we want? And this is a conversation that it seems as though we refuse to have. And on my journey, on my mission, what I want to do is I want to talk to and interview as many incarcerated, formerly incarcerated people as possible. But I do not want to stop there. I also want to talk to the correctional officers. That is what will blow this case wide open. That's what will uh, um, blow this situation sky high. That's what will make it front page news and will get ears listening. See, the Department of Corrections is so crooked that it makes a fatal mistake. There are many disgruntled officers walking around this country. That's what it is. There are many disgruntled officers walking around this country. And that is going to be the downfall of the Department of Correction. Those officers, from brand new, fresh officers all the way up to wardens, probably. Because what happens is, while you're there and you're participating in the system, yes, that system will cover for you. That system's going to cover for you. It's going to give you a pat on the back and tell you good job. Uh, um, um, it's going to promote you. It's basically going to tell you, hey, you know, you're a outstanding officer for maintaining this culture. Is going to be like that until you get in trouble. Then, when you get in trouble for promoting and maintaining that culture that you were being rewarded for, promoted for, all of a sudden, once you get in trouble, they don't know you then. They're gonna be, ooh, you were a bad, terrible officer. You were a terrible officer. We don't know you. We're gonna turn our back on you. We don't want to talk to you. We don't want you to talk to us. We're going to avoid you like the play. You go that away, dude. And that is what's going to break this wide open. That part is what's going to break this wide open. Let me go over this other issue I pulled up. This one concerns a woman, Florida inmate paralyzed in prison. She was awarded $4.65 million in a settlement. Dang, and she was beaten by 4 male prison guards. Now that doesn't make any sense. Now this happened at the female prison. Is not too far from Central Florida. She was beaten by 4 prison guards, as we just saw, who were male and left paralyzed from the neck down. Now, how disgusting in that this happened August 21st, 2019 at the Lowell Correctional Institution. She was told to I guess she was told to clean a toilet, and she told them that she was unable to clean the toilet because of a pre-existing hip condition. Now she was more than likely bullshitting. Yeah, she was. And the officers got enraged at her, and they were determined to show her that there's only one way that things are going to go in this prison, and that's our way. The things are either going to go our way, or you're going to receive a beat down. And so they beat this 51-year-old woman until she was paralyzed. Following the attack, which broke her neck and spinal cord, she was kept in prison and needed mechanical breathing assistance and special feeding tubes. While the case was pending, she was also denied a COVID-19 test. So this was, this 2019, that's when COVID was in full effect. The settlement only names 2 of her alleged attackers, both of whom had prior complaints. Now, there's something else. It's the usual suspects. Every prison has a goon squad. The 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 officers who are on call all shift to come and handle any situations that may need them, such as cell extractions. Like I said, they usually choose the biggest, heaviest guys they can find, and they definitely want them to have bad tempers, and they want them to bring pure hell to whatever situation that they are asked to respond to. Says that one of the guards, someone named Keith Turner, was promoted to lieutenant a few years ago despite allegations dating back to 2009. Going down, says this is something that caught my eye. Several separate instances over nearly a decade, inmates accused Turner of exchanging sex for contraband items, groping and making inappropriate comments, and physically assaulting and attacking inmates, but he was not dismissed. So basically, he was going around that prison being mannish with the women, is what he is allegedly accused of. Going a little further, it's even more shocking. He was later arrested in November on charges of sexual battery and child molestation. So this guy apparently, allegedly, because I haven't dug into it any deeper, was a real piece of dog doo-doo walking around there. Just a piece of dog doo-doo. And then look at the second guy who was named in the case, Ryan Dion. He was later arrested in an unrelated domestic violence case. All right. So we can see that the type of officers who are guilty in these cases. And all of this stems from the culture that is passed down from officer to officer as a result of the systemic influence that prison has on even new recruits. This is a systemic problem. I'm telling you all, it's a systemic problem. Well, I'm not telling you because, I'm sure plenty of you know you're not dumb. So I shouldn't say that I am telling you all like you don't know this. I'm pretty sure that you know this, so I don't want to insult your intelligence in that manner. Please forgive me. Where was I? It's on cancel. So I had never shared my darn page, huh? I never shared my page. Let me see here. I did all that talking and never shared my darn page. Let me see. Where was I? Which one was I reading? Which one was I reading? I was reading this one. Yeah. But this is the woman who at the time was 51 years old and was brutalized by 4 male officers to the point where she was paralyzed. That's a damn shame. That is a damn shame. And I had also showed this information concerning one of the officers and the complaints he had stacked up going back over nearly a decade. And the second officer who was named, that he was also charged. No, this is still the first officer. He was later charged with sexual battery and child molestation. And the second officer had got himself caught up in unrelated domestic violence. So that's what I had went over and had failed to show to us. So let me stop sharing real quick. Going back to StreamYard. Okay. So where was I? Yeah, I was going over how this is a systemic issue. While I want officers who have participated in these activities to be punished, I want us to understand that it's bigger than them, though. That we have to go after the actual system. The actual system. See, like I said, the actual Department of Corrections is going to back you and support you until you get caught. And then they're going to have to, hey, we don't know you. You go that way, dude. And that is not right. And that's also where they're going to, where they have messed up on reaching out to former COs who have been dismissed. And I'm going to be interviewing them. And we're going to blow the hinges off the doors. So look for me. Remember the movement. The Facebook web page is Get Loud, spelled exactly how it sounds. I didn't add any weird spelling to it. It's Get Loud. Look for it. I'll be looking for you. This is 904 DZ 904. Dizali the Watcher. Gonna have some more for you. Look for me.
Myself got on bended knees. Action, I need marry me. Fortunately, she agreed. Been smooth sailing since year 3. Bought a home, she got me cutting grass and trim the trees. Instead of club night, turn on TV, watch movies. She keep me on point, motivation to move me through ups and downs. There's no need of going back. Now I